Good evening. So this is a very special, lovely little chat that I am having this evening. It is with Rebecca Tucker of Sooner Interiors, and Sooner Interiors are the amazing sponsors of the home exhibition, which is launching this Friday at the department store in Brixton, and it's very, very exciting. And Rebecca has joined. So this is a chance to find out more about Sooner Interiors, to be honest, and exactly why they decided that ArtCan was going to be the people that they would like and the organisation they would like to partner with and support, and request to join. Good, let's get this sorted. It's so cool. Sorry, people, while we get ourselves organised, let's try this one again.
Hello, how are you?
That's looking more hopeful.
See, now I realised
there
I looked
you
in the mirror before I
are.
did this.
It's the end of a very long day here. I'm in one of these sort of little quiet booths that they have at the day job, but the lighting is shocking. And yeah, it's just like I feel like I'm under a spotlight, and it should be the other way around. Anyway, because it's me quizzing you this evening, which is so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, the brilliant Rebecca Tucker, who is an ArtCan artist, but is also Sooner Interiors. And the reason we're having a chat this evening, and I just mentioned this earlier on, in case anybody new has joined, it is because Sooner Interiors have sponsored the home exhibition, which is opening at the department store, launching this Friday, but open until the 29th of October. And there's a series of talks and everything going on for the whole week. So it's an absolute gem for the autumn programming for ArtCan. And I just wanted to have a chat with you, Rebecca, really, because this is a second exhibition of Sooner Interiors' very kind and generous support for ArtCan. And I just wondered if you could start by giving me a bit of background about what Sooner Interiors actually is and where it started from. And
okay.
Just do that first. And I've got so many other questions, but I won't bombard you all at the first time.
We started 2001. And there was three of us that one person sooner, the person started the company, and then Helen and I joined soon after. And 22 years on, we're kind of going strong. And we're not a kind of traditional interior design company in terms of working with individuals. Wow. We work with developers in the main, and always kind of have done. So working more on specification and the kind of right from the ground up in terms of when a developer is looking to build a development or an apartment scheme. We'll get involved with the kind of spec side of it, and then all the way through. Really, we're a bit of a one-stop shop for the interior design side of it, because we do everything from the show homes and marketing suite, and then also the specification, and more recently quite a lot of rental, but it's called build to rent accommodation, where you're getting to deal with some amazing kind of public community spaces, the residence amenity spaces. So and there's 22 of us now, I think. We're based in South Wimbledon and work kind of across the country, but mainly London and the southeast and home counties. But
amazing. And so I think there is obviously a natural sort of understanding and synergy with the contemporary art world. And obviously you are a vibrant and amazingly successful contemporary artist yourself. But where does that then sort of lead? Oh, and by the way, am I allowed to announce the huge congratulations for the sale in Italy?
Yes.
I just have anyway. Huge congratulations. Okay, Rebecca has just sold her work in Rome, don't you know? It's really rather amazing and brilliant. So congratulations. I know. What a great, I got the message and I was like, this is so cool. But I am obviously digressing slightly. But there is a natural sort of synergy obviously with interior designs, but why then was it felt more about getting involved with another sort of organisation,
you know
something
what,
like
it was quite funny
ArtCan?
because I think when I
Despite
first
your obviously
joined
involvement with it,
ArtCan,
why did that feel like something that was important for you guys?
The company was kind of was my day job, obviously, and was my passion. And obviously I've painted, not obviously, sorry, I've painted since I did a degree in the 90s, and I've kept them quite separate. It's always felt quite separate, and I certainly didn't want to be using interior design contacts for my private paintings. Does that make sense? I didn't want to be kind of just going to clients going, oh, we can do this job for you, and by the way, I'm a painter, can I put a painting in your scheme? I really didn't want to be using that link, so I kept it quite separate. And I think actually Helen, my business partner and kind of best mate, not kind of best mate, she actually is my best mate, and we say kind of a lot, she actually made the link more than I did, because she was a bit like, but this really works actually for our clients, because our clients most of them doing the show homes and doing the interior design is a really nice part of their job, and they really enjoy, you know, the meetings we meet are always really positive, and it's a really constructive part of their process of building a development and getting it to market, and it's a really enjoyable part of the job for them. And actually art really links into that kind of interest in interiors and how you make interiors work, and art's a crucial part of that. And it was actually Helen that said that the link between our clients and the interior design side of it and what I'm doing personally with my painting is a really strong link, and it's something that our clients are interested in. There's a synergy there in terms of what we're doing with the company, so it really ties in with what we do as a company. But equally, I think our kind of social charter, we want to be supporting organizations. We're really looking at our kind of sustainability message at the moment and things like that, and doing things that aren't just greenwashing, but doing things that are supportive of community projects and supportive of you know, for the company. You know, we're 20 years old and we've been going a long time, and I think that's really important to us as a company, that we pay something back a little bit. So it really works. It became a bit of a no-brainer. It was one of those kind of light bulb moments where I'd kind of always kept it a little bit like, you know, separate, and it suddenly was like, well, this makes perfect sense to kind of to pull the two things together in this kind of in this kind of way, with sponsoring an exhibition where I also get, you know, the huge enjoyment of curating and putting
well, that was going to be my next sort of link, actually. It's like, so yes, brilliant. Suna decided this was, you know, a really beautiful synergy, something that they would absolutely love for their clients, as well as for the social development for their own company, blah blah blah, all just perfect. But then where did that then take you in this sort of path? Because we need to touch base on the Crypt last year and the exhibition then. So, and obviously you curated that and co-curated it with Eves and Jill. But that must have been a slightly separate sort of section of your head from work, as to how you would then sort of pull that together. So
also very
give us a bit of a story as to how that all came to be. I
think when you're, and again, it's that involvement with ArtCan. I think when I joined ArtCan, which is kind of like 3 years ago, I think you join a community like this for the people that you meet and the kind of interactions you can have. I think being an artist can be quite an isolating experience, and actually ArtCan has been one of the best things I've ever done in terms of getting in a community of supportive, like-minded people. And I think it's great. And I think the curating side of it, I think as I've kind of built confidence with my own painting, I find the curating, probably because it's an arm of interior design for me, I do treat it quite like a, you know, you're dressing a space, aren't you? So I think something that personally gives me quite a lot of satisfaction. So it's I think the tie-in for me, again, tying it back to the interior design, is the venues need to be spot on. So the Crypt in King's Cross, which was an amazing, you know, architecturally and historically, it was an amazing venue. And the department store's got the same kind of architectural credentials in terms of it being developed by Squire and Partners and being a really interesting building with a really interesting history and interior and the kind of feel of that. So all those things are things that I'm quite passionate about, I think, and that's why it really works. So Does that answer your question? I've kind of forgotten what your question was, but yeah.
No, it does answer my question. But then why do
I
you sort
couldn't
of
do it on
feel
my
that
own.
working with
God, I
two other
mean,
curators
I,
was
I think the
necessary?
size of show um, that we've been looking at. Jill brings the whole uh, management and the whole knowledge of sculpture to the table. Eves is a really good person. He really sits back and kind of uh,
Yeah,
forms really articulate opinions. He's a teacher, so I think he really knows how to look at paintings and look at artwork and look at sculpture and form an opinion that's really rational and really a really logical way
yeah,
of looking at things, which is great. I think I'm much more like, oh, I love it. Oh, you know, I'm much more reacting on
yeah,
I'm probably a bit more reactive to things. So I think and it just kind of worked. And I
yeah,
don't really know. I think I encouraged them both to join ArtCan, and we'd kind of met before that online through kind of Instagram or some other art community thing, and just really got on really well, and the dynamic works really well. We're able to say what we feel and really kind of work it out. And I think I couldn't do it without them both. They're
yeah,
kind of I think we all play a really instrumental part in the process.
yeah. So let's
Yeah.
talk then a little bit about homes. This is obviously the second exhibition that the three of you have curated for ArtCan, beautifully and very generously sponsored by Suna. But maybe if you could explain a little bit about the ideas behind why home and why that particular sort of theme. And obviously we've got about 125 artists I think involved in this exhibition, which is obviously massive, and it's a brilliant sort of slice of the
Yeah.
amazing ArtCan community of artists that we're sort of
Okay.
putting on display in this amazing architectural
Fundamentally, I
space.
mean, obviously, when we're sponsoring
So,
something,
but
we
why
want to
home?
support ArtCan, and we want to get as many artists involved as possible. And we need a venue also where we can invite our clients to. So we need a venue that's a decent size that can kind of take
Yeah.
the art. And now, obviously, the double kind of edge of that is that the more artists you have, the more artists you've got to accommodate as well. So we needed a pretty decent size venue, which led to the fact that we needed a pretty decent size cohort of
Yeah.
artists to be involved in it as well. And I mean, ArtCan, how many members in ArtCan now? 500, over 500, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh no, we've hit the 600 mark, and actually
yeah.
we are
So
about
it's
to
a
accept a
perfect
new
pool
tranche of
to be able to
artists into
get
the
enough
community as well this
really
week.
good
So
people involved in a show. And the theme is a really tricky one. I mean, you know this, we've kind of had discussions, especially last year, maybe I think we were a bit more savvy about it this year. The theme has to be open enough that you get a wide enough variety of work,
yeah,
but closed enough that you get work that has consistency and has that continuity and that link between it. So it was a really interesting kind
yeah,
of conversation when we're talking about themes, because we kind of you go all over the place, and I've got notes on my phone of like exhibition ideas that you know, running into the hundreds now, but you have to pick and choose what you're doing um to suit the venue and to suit who you're putting the call out to. So the theme home actually came about, and again, this was a kind of that kind of light bulb moment, perfect collaboration. I was actually in a management meeting in the office, and I was talking about ArtCan, and we were saying what we were doing, and I said that we'd found the Brixton department store as a really good venue that offered us the size we wanted, but the architectural interest. And I said, and we were just, and I kind of gave a few ideas of what we were looking at, and it was actually Helen and one of our lead designers literally both said at the same moment, home, because it ties in everything in terms of what we're doing as a company and as a as an interior design company, but it also home has so many connotations. I mean, I think on the call out we sent out, just the definition of home in a dictionary, it gives you so many ideas of, especially when you kind of caveat, when you link it to something else like homelessness or homesickness or or the feeling of being at home. And then post pandemic, again, that idea of home became a much more influential part of artists' lives, especially I think in terms of influencing their work. So it felt like it was a really wide brief to give people, but it also enabled us to find something that was really going to pull it together under that single word. I think it gave us what we wanted in terms of covering all bases.
Yeah. And that covers not just artwork sort of responding to that theme, but the mediums being used as well. So can you sort of explain some of the different styles and materials and everything that's going to be available to see as of Saturday, actually, won't it?
Painting, we've got photography, we've got mixed media, we've got printmaking, we've got sculpture in more traditional senses of sculpture in terms of, you know, carvings and things like that. And then we've got a few installation kind of pieces. And I mean, the one that brings to mind, we've got somebody, and this is where my brain is going to die. I've been doing the catalogue, trying to kind of, I remember every single piece of art, but I can never link that to names, and I can never link names to faces. So I'm just used comes to it. But we've got somebody using carpet underlay, and she's stitching into it and kind of putting ink onto it, and that's going to be like an installation piece in the show. And it's that combination of kind of home and the quite a hidden material, using this kind of quite rough carpet underlay, but something that she's using in a really textural way. We've got a lot of I say a lot. We've got some really beautiful kind of knitted and embroidered work as well, that obviously has the connotation of something that feels quite homely, and the warmth that's kind of engendered in that. And then in terms of subject matter and paintings, we've got everything from portraits of people's parents to portraits of to interior paintings. A lot, I mean, we've got abstract pieces as well that kind of engender the feeling of home for people, I think. So and what I felt was really important with the show, actually, I think when people make the effort to submit art, can, you know, how many call outs do you put out a year? It's probably 15 or 20, isn't it? Yeah. And I think people put a lot of effort into responding to those call outs. And on the submission form, you know, you're obviously asked why do you want to appear in this show, and people put a lot of effort into what they're writing in there. And I felt it was really important that was read, that there was something beside each piece of work that explained a little bit more about the piece of work and the artist, and why, and what kind of touched them about the theme. So I think when you've got a theme, I think it's really important to then give that information, pass that information forward to the people that are coming to see the show. So we've been working, bless Eves has been working tirelessly on the labels. So we've got labels against every piece that has a little snippet of text with it that gives you a bit of context of the piece. And then we've got the online catalogue that has the written text as well, so that people can really find out a bit more, especially in such a show that's got so many artists and so many pieces. I think it's really nice for people to be able to just bury themselves in it a bit more by reading about what the work is.
Yeah. I think through all of this means that if you are planning on visiting, then you should make sure you have at least a 2-hour window. Don't think you're just going to be able to pop in for 10 minutes, because you won't. You'll find yourself suddenly caught, and you won't want to leave. So make sure you allocate proper time if you are visiting.
So you can spend the day.
Yeah, spend the day. I love it. I do think the immersive nature of exhibition with so many pieces in is something that you're absolutely right. You sort of have the whole feeling of it all, but then you do want to go in and actually then discover the individual pieces and the story behind those and the artist behind it as well. And it sort of feels like you're actually then able to have that sort of conversation with the viewer to a little bit more depth, because sometimes, you know, so group shows can just be a bit overwhelming, and you don't quite have that sort of that handed to you sort of connection to that particular work that you're seeing. I think that's a really well done, Eves. Thank you very much. I love it. So Are there any
Oh,
specific pieces that
oh, that's
you
really hard.
want to
How
sort
do
of
I do
highlight
that?
as a couple of teaser
I'm gonna,
pieces?
no,
I know, I
I'm gonna
know. But I
highlight. Do you
wasn't
know what,
going
the
to
one that jumps to
make this
mind?
easy for you because no one ever does
And
for
I've
me when
kind of said
when I
this
get
to her as
curveball
well, and I'm sure
questions.
she
So.
doesn't believe me because she thinks I'm saying to everybody. It's one of my favourite pieces in the show. Is actually Kat Coulter has done this drawer from a chest of drawers from her house, and she does a lot of cyanotype, and she's cyanotyped all these objects into this drawer, and it's like that drawer that we've all got that's full of all the gubbins of family, and she's got children who have kind of flown the nest, and
Rubbish.
there's a real poignancy to it in terms of what the objects are and how we've all got these drawers full of crap basically, but that actually each little thing, a pebble from a beach or a, and they all have meaning, they all have something about them. I love that piece, and it's actually a physical drawer, that we're gonna have up on it is but it's got, because it's got Diana type kind of almost like these
It's a
ghosts of the
sculptural
things
piece.
inside the drawer. I just
3D.
think
Yeah.
it's utterly beautiful. I
Amazing.
can't wait to
Yeah. But I'm really looking forward to seeing that one too, actually. Slightly different for her other work that she's shown in Art Can shows, so it's going to be really interesting. And we also obviously have worked, well, I think Jill was very much working on a talks program throughout the exhibition, which again is really important. It gives an opportunity for artists to come and actually share their own stories and actually practice talking to people, which is actually quite nice for the artists who are quite
you are
solitary
properly
at times.
testing me now because I've not revised that little bit.
Give a few highlights of what are some of the talks they're going to be covering?
Guys, totally. Jill has done such a good job in organising. I think.
Well, I do know. I think actually we posted it on the ArtCan.org site, so head over there because it's on there. And I know that they're between 12 and 2 on most days, actually. So please do make sure you check those out, because it's a chance to actually go and actually meet the artists as well, who are fascinating people. And obviously a chance to find out exactly what the stories are behind their works that they're showing there.
We've deliberately this year. Last year we just did the opening weekend and then the week, and I think we've deliberately done 2 weekends this year because it felt like we just got the momentum going last year with people coming, and then it finished on the kind of Thursday or the Friday, I think, last year. So we've got this weekend, and we really wanted to make sure that it wasn't just come for the private view and then forget about it. Actually, it's a show that is on for the 9-10 days. So we're really trying to pull people in through that whole week, make sure that it gets as many people.
It's such an accessible place as well. Often galleries are sort of open between sort of quite unrealistic sort of hours and or not actually weekends and things like that. So actually the fact that this is, and you can take some time out of your day and go and listen to a talk and then be back at your desk if you need to after lunch, then it's that sort of thing that's actually accessible. And that, from ArtCan's point of view, is something that we love about Sooner Interiors too, because the synergy works both ways in that respect. We are absolutely delighted, obviously, that you are supporting the ArtCan sort of autumn exhibition each year. It seems to be a thing we might be talking about next year again already. And it really sort of consolidates the fact that every program and every project that ArtCan does, it actually has a much bigger ripple effect and reach for the artists who are involved with it. So I can't thank you enough for that. It is absolutely amazing for us to be able to deliver this alongside like-minded organisations. It's a real joy, especially in this crazy world that we live in. So thank you. In case we haven't said it enough,
it's something that it works both ways. Thank you as well for the opportunity.
Of course. So are there any sort of other exciting projects or arty sort of things?
I think I very briefly mentioned it actually. Next year we've got a tiling company that we work with called Manoli Tiles, who are really keen to support as well. And he's talked about, he has these kind of event nights where he has his clients come into this a beautiful showroom in George Street just off Oxford Street, and he's got this showroom where potentially we can get like artist talks where artists get the opportunity to meet his clients who, generally are relatively affluent home owners in that kind of location who are really, they go to talks about cars and watches and things like that, and art actually is really worked really nicely with that. So that's definitely something that we're kind of looking at pushing forward for next year. He's really keen to do that. And like you say, next year, next up, I always get to this, we're doing the hang tomorrow, and I get to this point going, why are we doing never again? Exactly.
Oh, I know, isn't it? It's always the way. But then by Friday evening, it will just be, and then it has its own identity, and then suddenly it's this amazing thing, because all of the energy of the artists who are involved, because it is an exhibition for the artists, it's their exhibition. No one else is actually benefiting from this in the same way that the artists are, and it's an opportunity for them to really sort of embrace and shout about it and celebrate it and use it as content. I mean, this is the thing. It's like every time you do an exhibition as a contemporary artist, you should be using that as your content to move yourself forward with how you're talking about your work. You move yourself forward about how you present your work, how you sort of are explaining it and things like that. So it's just, and to have almost 125 artists all having that opportunity within this next week that's coming up.
It's exactly that. It's that opportunity,
it's
isn't
so
it?
It's exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. It's
amazing venues and the opportunity to kind of get work out there, and then it's a tool that they can use to really kind of shout about it. And that benefits everybody. It's that the more everybody talks about it, the more that gets out there.
Move themselves forward. The ripple effect. I mentioned the ripple effect quite a lot, but actually it is exhibitions like this that really do give a good example as to exactly what that ripple effect has and how it can achieve things.
Have you had a look at the catalog?
Brilliant. Do you have any questions for me?
First impressions?
You don't have to. Yes, I have. It's amazing. Oh, it's first impressions are this a lot of work. It's like I was like scrolling down, going, oh, and then I think another. I mean, because obviously I go into like project manager mode, which is how I do, and so I was like scrolling through all sorts of having quick check for edits and things like that, and then suddenly realizing how many artists we have of a certain letter, because they're obviously broken down into the letters. It's like,
we've got a queue now. I think we need. There's not many N's and O's.
I know. I didn't know.
Really
I know, isn't it ridiculous that people like who are actually more concerned about the structure and the organization of something actually are looking at how many people have got first names beginning with a certain letter? Yeah. So anyway, but it is beautiful, and it's because you can actually read the comments and the ideas behind the pieces as well. It stopped me in my tracks a bit, and I was there for much longer than I expected to be. And it is really going to be that in itself is an immersive tool as well.
Because obviously we've chosen all the work online, and people are just kind of sending it in, and people are bringing it in tomorrow now to be hung. But to see it all, I am in that stage of feeling the pressure of doing it all justice, getting it all, and but really excited to see it. And it is. It's
going to be amazing. It's really going to be amazing. So this is Home, which is opening next week at the department store. Well, actually opening this private view Friday. It's a private event, and then after that open every day until the 29th of October. Do follow the ArtCan.org Instagram account, because it's got all the details there. You can find out what talks are going on during the week as well. And it's a selling exhibition, and 100% of the money, if an artist sells their work, goes directly to the artist, because we are non-commission, and it's just brilliant. So huge thank you again to Suna Interiors for sponsoring the exhibition. It's been amazing talking to you, Rebecca, about this, and just getting a little bit of an insight and understanding as to why you and well Suna have got so involved with ArtCan as well. We couldn't thank you enough for that. I think that's it. And a very gorgeous way to finish off a day. I love it, and it's so rainy and horrible here in London at the moment. So
also the people who then stuck their hands up.
It can only get brighter because an exhibition
all the extra bits and pieces. So helping with invigilating, and I've had a little gang of people going out and putting flyers through doors. So just kind of thanks for all the help that everybody gives us when you're working on a project like this. It's great.
It's a huge team effort, and couldn't do it without the fact it's being a team effort actually. And It's brilliant. Here's to an amazing exhibition indeed, Mel. It is going to be one. Watch out, we will be sharing, if you're not in London or able to be here, we will be sharing a lot of pictures on our site, across our social media as well, so you can follow from afar. And if anybody has an amazing exhibition or space that they think an Art Can show would look amazing in, and it could be anywhere in the world, then please do let us know, because we are always on the lookout for brilliant and vibrant spaces to do fun shows in.
Yeah,
that's it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll link that to our website actually, so artcan.org.uk. Okay. Make sure you're following Rebecca, amazing contemporary artist, as well as Suna. And yeah, we'll see you again really, really soon.